Welcome everybody to our Certified DevOps Engineer live free training program. And as you know, this training I provided as a volunteer free of charge to support those entering into the ID. And this is our roadmap. According to roadmap, we have already completed our Dev 1 Linux for DevOps part. And today we are going to start by fundamentals of the DevOps. This is the again information, okay, for those who tuning in later. Okay, so don't forget to mark for our next training. And if you see, currently we are only doing the certified DevOps engineer. Later we will also have professional security, Python, and especially this part is nowadays a hot topic. Here is a Terraform certification, some of the Google, AWS, and I will also start the cybersecurity trainings. Okay, so if you watch or if you recommend your friends, you can say they can scan the QR code, right, to join like you did yourself. I will also post link in the description when once it will be uploaded. So with that said, let's go ahead and see what we will cover today. Okay, so in previous section we have learned how we can develop our application. In this section we will be talking about how we do the releases, I mean how we distribute our application to the end user. And yes, there is a reason. Let's see first what we see in this. So in this we will see the release cycle, version, semantics, DevOps Stack. Oh, okay, ignore this one. I'm sorry about this, I put this twice, right? So this is how mistake happened. So there is a reason for this, to keep the release cycle in this section it means in today's session, and version semantics as well, right? Because when you actually working, right, so you will be involving heavily with the release. So maybe you heard like, and additionally, like when you are applying or maybe you're finding hunting for the job, you may see release engineer. Of course, if you go more deeper at very bottom level, yes, it's a different thing, but release engineer is also equivalent. You can also apply for that job. Okay, that is more also on the automation. If you want to know more about these things, go read the change management. Okay, but as I said, yes, you could also do the release engineer job as well as beginner, right? And version semantics, why do you need to know versions, that we will talk about. Everything will be make sense in a bit. Okay, and this is the important part. But before this, I would have to, or not have to, I want to explain you these two things. Okay, so let's first see what is release cycle. So release cycle, similarly, like we have software development life cycle, right, where that help us to develop our software. Same, we have the life cycle for the releasing of the software. So we have different phases. Let's start one by one, right? So very first phase is pre-alpha, right? Pre-alpha phase. So where it's similar to like you are doing a planning, right? So in this project manager, your planning team, the developers, everybody involves. No, I would not say, yes, if it's a DevOps approach, right? So everybody involves since very beginning. So DevOps set up the initial infrastructure, pipelines, and all these things to releasing the product, right? So very first step, similar to like what we used to do in planning, like that, right? Where we do the planning, brainstorming sessions, right? And developers start doing the coding, they do their own testing, the formal testing isn't done. And additionally, one more thing, like if you find this topic on the internet, or if you try to find it, right, you will get this more in the context of testing. You will not get in the context of DevOps, because ultimately when you deliver a software, so you want to emphasize on the testing, right? Because when product goes out, it should be thoroughly tested, right? So that's what, if you try to find, you will see in the form of more focused on the testing side, but though we are talking about the DevOps, so we would be talking in the context of DevOps. Okay, so pre-alpha phase, very first one. In this phase, software is not released to anybody. Okay, because here it's a phase of planning, brainstorming. Developers are doing the coding, and they do some their own testing. And meanwhile, DevOps are doing the infrastructure setup, like version control, CI/CD, automation stuff, right? So this is pre-alpha phase. Then we have the alpha phase, right? In alpha phase, same thing is happening, but here we have testers, I mean, testing team or testers also involved in this, and they do the thorough testing of the product, right? Before it will go or move to the next phase, right? So in alpha phase, formal testing is started. Before alpha phase, there is no testing. Okay, remember this thing. And here, as formal testing is also started, so DevOps engineers are ensure CI/CD pipeline are running smoothly and doing automated automation testing itself as well. So testing is will be more automatically. Okay, so that's why the DevOps engineers involved in this phase. Once that done, then product goes to a beta phase. Okay, so beta phase, it's, you would say, like pre-alpha and alpha, right? So in pre-alpha and alpha phase, you think, okay, now we are done with the features, we will not include any more feature into that, right? Because you have to stop somewhere, right? So I want to add more things in this presentation, right? But I will also think about the timing, right? Of course, timing, and also whether you are interested in that or not, and additionally, apart from the interest, whether it is relevant or not, right? So we have to decide somewhere, we have to stop. So that is a situation in alpha phase where we call this as a feature freeze. Yeah, feature freeze. So in that moment, when that moment has come, then we decide, okay, then there would be no more feature we will add for this release. And once that point is reached, right, after that, product move to the beta phase. And in beta phase, what happened? External users are involved from the real world. So for example, you may heard about this via this beta version. When, if you, I don't know, but when you download some of the applications, so you maybe see two versions, right? So one is a stable version, one is, let's say, the beta version, and that says, okay, this is not the stable one, it is not advised to use in your production workload, right? So here in our application example, you could see, okay, we have done with the all these things, we deployed and we push our app to the let's say Play Store, App Store, anywhere where we can push it, right? And we make it available for the users to download, and we release that application for the end user as a testing. So based on their feedback, we will be enhancing or improving the application more. So same application is used on the different devices. So let's say on the Mac users, they are Apple users, they are using on the Apple. Android users are using on the Android. And after that, if any crashes happen to beta, it is possible application might be crashed, right? And you maybe experience this when your application is crashed. It will ask you, do you want to report it, right? So beta version is publicly, I mean, where your software, right, your application is available for the external tester, not from the those who are working on this, right? And beta can be two kind of, so closed beta and open beta. So open beta, it means when you launch a product for entire public across the world or across the internet, anybody can download or anybody can use. And closed beta, it means you develop your application and you gave that I mean installation, or I think PKP, I don't know what's the extension, don't remember at the moment. So your application you shared with some of your friends, your family members, and say, okay guys, I'm going to launch this application, just install in your mobile and use it and let me know. So that is closed one. Okay, so again, it's a testing terminology. We are not going much into in there, but beta is also available as a testing phase. So here we release the product. In pre-alpha, alpha, we don't release the product for the users, right? And after that, once it is done, then we have the next phase, which is called release candidate phase. So whatever feedback is received from the beta phase, right, when we release the beta version of the application, so all the feedbacks was collected from the users, the external tester worldwide. Some, like as I said, you invited your friends and family. So if you have some costly product, right, which people have to do subscription for that, so in that case, company what does, company ask their client, okay, next version we will give you, let's say, the 60% discount for the next subscription. Will you involve in testing? If you want to involve in that, like that, so that is also possible, and that is also happening, right? So based on all the feedback, previous feedback which is received in beta phase, again included in the this phase, right? And again, the developers refine the software, resolve any remaining issues are there, any bug fixes are there, right? Every whatever is reported in beta, which is fixed by the developer, and again testers perform the testing. And once the product owners, like product manager, they give the approval, then DevOps engineer manages to release the product with the automation. So this is called release candidate phase. It is also known short form as a RC. And you can see this snapshot I have take it, I think, from the node, yeah, node application, GitHub, right? When we start GitHub, guys, I will tell you what is this, and that's why I'm telling you all these basic things, right? So it says RC.0, it says pre-release. So when your product is in RC phase, it means it is more stable and likely to be released, right? Or you think, okay, now we are satisfied, we have done everything, and then you release your product as a pre-release version, right? And then when it is done, then it move to, okay, so then it move to release to manufacturing phase. It is important because in pre-alpha, alpha, we didn't release at all, right? In beta phase, we released the product, we took a feedback, then after, or based on that feedback, we did release candidate feature, release candidate phase. In that release version, we took also feedback. In that, we also do more testing on that, right? Once the more testing will be done, then your product will be more stable. And once you are happy, satisfied, everything is fixed, I mean, everything is very I'm maybe I'm being more optimistic, but yes, consider as everything is fixed. It is not possible. So like when I listen my this recording, then I know I find some maybe some things I said accidentally, right? So this is possible, right? So you cannot say always everything is perfect, right? But you ensure, okay, as much as you could do, you have perform all the testings from the your side, and you make sure, okay, all good. Then this phase, it says release to manufacturing phase. In this, what happened, software is considered as a stable and ready for the distribution, right? So this stage involves again the same thing, operations team prepare for the software distribution. So for example, here there are two kind of things can be possible, like software as an operating system. Ubuntu is, let's take an example of Ubuntu, right? So here, once they test it, they release as a beta version, and after beta version they release as a RC version, and after that they said, okay, now we are going to release it for the everybody, okay, as a mass or manufacturing or mass level. Then what happened, they have to, like, if you go to their wikis, it means their portal, you can download FTP servers, so you can find these versions as well. Okay, so then they finally says, okay, LTS. Remember this term LTS, long term support, because all the next installation we will be doing that for the tools. I will be letting you know more as well, but LTS is the long term support. It's a short form. Okay, and when it is released, right, so right after this they prepare for the big release, so that's why it says release to manufacturing phase. Okay, and once they are ready, then it is generally, it says general availability phase, where it is available for everybody, all the public, as a stable version. So all the people, and it's a big deal or big day for the teams, those who work. So this is how release happen. Okay, they make it available for everybody, and all the people can download the Ubuntu new version, they can install. And similarly, when this application you have, right, so maybe you are not working on any public distribution, maybe you will be working on open source project, tomorrow you will be a contributor, right, so you should know this term, how this release cycle works, right. So this is general availability, where product considered completely stable, can be used for the production use. And you remember, when we install and post configuration, there was an option help us to improve the product, right. So that means Ubuntu gave the features, or they start building the features. And when we have this option called uh, automatically install, maybe you open the your virtual machine of Ubuntu, so you maybe see the update center. It's kind of pop up, it says do you want to install the update or something like that. So they build the test and they push the updates in that, because you already installed. I will tell you the deployment means what or all these things, but you already install on your system. And then in that way, if new version is there, they will give you the push, kind of push notification like we receive on the mobile, right. And those who do not install, they can download from the website. So that's a two kind of thing. So general, it's very simple, when it is stable and it is available for everybody to use. And once it is there, then we have maintain phase or maintenance phase, right. So it's the same thing. If any bug is there, or if you want to use, or if you want to report some feature, you could go ahead and contact the support team, and support team will forward those details to the planning and all this other teams as well, or project team, I would say, right. And once it is done, and then at the end, product will reach to end of life. In this phase, developers says, okay, I mean, of course it's not their decision only, everybody involved into that, but in this phase, company announced, okay, the product is going to be uh, end of life. It means we are not going to support this. So when you configure the post installation steps in Ubuntu, there was an option to upgrade and receive security support for next 10 years, right. So it means the company is going to provide you the additional support up to this much interval of time. After that, the after that, maybe company will not support you, and they declare, okay, end of life of the software, because no features cannot, I mean, we cannot include more features in that, we need to have something else. Or maybe next versioning is our next topic, that's why I put over here. But in nutshell, this is the phases of your release, right. There is a so many things, so many articles are available there for the release management, change management, all this thing. But as a DevOps engineer, I believe at least we should know what this means. Okay, because somebody says, okay, we are doing beta release, so you should know, okay, what beta release means. It means the developers and internal testing is already done, and their product is now, they are making it available for the public to use and give the feedback, right. And if they say, okay, we are in RC phase, or maybe they say, okay, we are doing the RC release, right. So you should know what it means, and GA means what, right. So for us, it's a LTS. Okay, so this is a release cycle. Any questions on this, guys, so far? Okay, I take it as a no. Okay, thank you, Tarun. So next, our topic is version semantics, right? Guys, I know it's very basic thing, but if you already know this, I'm not saying no offense, but usually this is the topic in this section which I'm talking about, particularly first topic which we have completed just before this, the release cycle and this version semantics. What I found, it's overlooked. Many people overlook about this topic. Okay, as I said, yes, by end of the section, definitely all the dots will be connected and you know why I explained this. Okay, so here the version semantics follow this 3 1 2 3 XYZ, right? So that's why I say it is our ABC. So we start with the ABC and we end with the XYZ. So very first will represent the major version of your application, right? So first we understood the development cycle, how we develop. In second, we start with how we release, and in release, how we do the versioning, right? So that's why when we start Git and GitHub, when I say version controlling system, then you will be knowing, okay, what do I mean when I say version control system? Why do we need that kind of software, right? So X represent the measure. Just listen to me for a moment, right? So it's similar to like when initially, okay, measure, it means initially when you launch your app, so you said 1.0.0, right? And as I said, the release cycle, right? So it can be it's like this. When I showed you this one, right, it says v 19.1.0-rc.0, right? So in this way, the semantics are followed. Okay, so similarly, very first time when our app is launched, so we said, okay, 1.0.1, it's a measure version, right? So why it is measure version? Because whatever existing feature, so let's say, okay, why not we go ahead and talk about this further. So why represent the minor? So minor, it means first you um, launch your app by 1.0.0, right? This version. So major version is 1, minor version is zero point 0.5, where you add a feature, right? So first one is major, it means the entire architect of your application, whatever you launch it very first time, right? That is major version. When you add more feature into that, you're not changing anything. So for example, very first time, whatever look and feel and GUI of your application you decided, consider that as a version 1. And in that, you keep on adding the features into the particular your application, right? It means you are doing the minor version, right? So when you add new feature, right, into your existing thing, and that should not break your previous version as well. So here 1.0.5, sorry, 1.5.0. So when you added a feature, food tracking, so for example, your user gave you feedback, okay, I want to track my food, and that is not available in your application. Then you're again planning team plan, right? And designing team did their design, then code will do, the developers did the code testing, and all these things happen. Any new release, you say, okay, 1.5.0, it means you did not make any changes in the your entire software, you only added a feature. So this field belongs to the particular feature you are going to, or you have added in your previous release, right? But this feature is not going to break the existing functionality of your application. So when you add, so it should not be like that, okay, you enabled your app, in your app, online food tracking, but user are not able to order at all, right? So it doesn't make any sense, right? So in that way, the y field is basically, or it indicates the new features. Okay, so always remember, it means we are adding a new feature in the same version or first release. And last one, it says the patches. So okay, let me give you the example better. So you launch your application first, then you, based on the user feedback, or maybe your team decides, okay, let's do the real-time food tracking. Then in 1.6, 1.0 version, you added a feature real-time food tracking, right? But in that particular version, 1.6.0 has some problem, right? Which is reported by again user or maybe your monitoring tool. And then you are going to fix that. So instead of consider this 1.6.1 or 2, whatever, or maybe in one version you tried but it didn't fix, then you release 1.6.2, and that is going that is a bug fix. Or maybe it says I put it this over here, or discount, yeah, discount coupons, right? And which is not possible, and then you fixed in this feature. So you did not make any changes, but you fix the bugs. So whatever bugs are there, right, you're not going to make any changes of your application architecture, anything. You are not going to add any features, but whatever you released, you deployed, has some problem, and that can be go by this last step. Do you understand? Are you following me? Guys, quickly give me chat, please. It is really important. Good, good. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Otherwise, if no, I can explain you more. No problem, right? So, okay. Yes, please go ahead. You raised your hand.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please, I kind of lost it when you started explaining patch. If you wouldn't mind, please could you go over it again? The patch explanation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Which one? The same one you mean?
Yes, patch.
Patch. Ah, okay, sure. I'll do that. Thank you for asking the question. Very good. So first, I decided, okay, I have to, or I have an idea to or launch an application, right? So I contacted IT team. They did their work, and they said, okay, now your initial version is ready. I said, okay, launch it. They launch it. So that is the entire application, the architecture thing, everything, whatever is in first one. That is called the version X, and that is, don't go with the numbering. That is called major version. Okay, where, because very first time that we did the architecture of the our entire application or entire ecosystem, how different component will talk to each other, how front end will talk to back end will talk to database, and how it will respond back to the final user again on the screen. So like when you press the order, right, it should give you the response, okay, your order has been placed. And at the very same time, this order should also reflect on the restaurant screen or their notification, okay, you have a received, or I mean, order has been placed by this user, you have to deliver this user the order to that particular user, right? That is your application, and you released it as an initial launch 1.0.0 measure version. Then what happened after that? Like I said, this example, the instead of, let's say, tracking, real time tracking. So nobody get any confirmation. In just people says, okay, once you ordered, your order has been placed, you can see on the screen, okay, thank you for placing the order, you will get your order in 40 minutes. And you are in impression, okay, 40 order will be, or I will receive my food in 40 minutes, let's go and out and do some other work and shopping and all these things. Meanwhile, the delivery person came to your home, and it's a problem, you are not at home, right? So it cannot put food to at your door and go back, right? It's not like. So as a application owner, I thought, okay, to give a more exposure, a good exposure or good experience to my user, my customer, okay, let's go ahead and do the real-time tracking. So this is feature. My application is still there. I'm adding feature on top of that. So the feature, right? When we talk about this Y field here, so this Y field, it means we are talking about the feature into the existing application or existing version, right? We are adding one feature, then you thought, okay, today is this one, next today you thought, okay, it went well, why shouldn't we go for the let's say premium restaurant access, this kind of feature. When you add this, then instead of 1.5 version, it will go as a 1.6 version. So this is minor, you're adding feature, right? And at the end you said, okay, loyalty, where you are giving a cashback or points to your customer. You added that feature into your application. Again, you did not release new version of, I mean, of course, new version of the application, but you your application is the same, right? You added a new feature where if your customer order made, let's say, 100 euro, you will give them a 10 euro as a cashback, just as example. And what happened when you release 1.7.0 version of your application that has this feature to give a cashback to your customer? So instead of 10%, it is giving 100% cashback to the customer. It means it is a bug. It's a simple way of saying it is a problem, right? You're in your application and you identified, and then you went back to the company, you get the contract to develop your application, and you ask them, okay guys, fix this, what is happening? Instead of earning, I'm losing money, right? Then development team will work and fix the issue, and now they fix, okay, if 10% cashback, it means it will going to the customer is going to get 10% cashback, whatever amount they are going to order, right? So before that, it was launched as a feature that was, let's say, 1.5 version. Here, let's just, we are on the screen so you can consider again. So that was feature, but there was a problem happen, right, or observed in that particular feature that is going to be fixed in upcoming releases, right, or upcoming version. So versioning is followed as a 1.5.2, or maybe you could say 1.5.1, because here it was 0, so you could say 1.5.1. So you know, okay, in 1.5 it means in one, well, I mean, your main application in version number 5, this feature was released, and in this feature, this one, right, this, the bug was happened, and then the developers fix the bug. So that is called as your patching. Okay, so it is not only this one, it may be a security patch, or it may be any kind of thing, but again, it should be compatible with your previous version. Okay, I hope I try to explain and now you follow. Sama, could you give?
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. So I hope now you guys are able to understand why I put this over here. So in this doc, if we go over here, it says the Kubernetes project maintains release branches. Don't mind the branches, I will explain you what. Most recent 3 minor releases. It says minor. So minor, it means we have this one. Why? Okay. So 1.3.2, 3.1, and 3.0. And it says 1.19 in newer version, okay, receives approximately 1 year of patch support. So now we know what patch means, right? And Kubernetes versions are expresses XYZ. Okay. And second thing, if you go over here, so it says, okay, we maintain 3 minor version. Is when we start that did this Kubernetes application developer or administrator security. We talk about more about this, but just remember, whenever you are installing any application, configuring your server, upgrading, especially upgrading, right, always check this semantics are compatible with, when otherwise what happen if you upgrade and that doesn't work with your application, then this will be a problem for you. Okay, and here one more term, it says end of life. So now we know they already announced when this is going to be end. So this version is going to be end. So this is year, this is month, and this is date. On this date, this year, this date, I mean this month, this date, and so on and so forth. Go and read about this. Okay, when you find the link, it's a kubernetes.io release, how it works. It is really amazing. Ubuntu does not follow XYZ semantics. They follow like 24.04. It means the first two digit means the year, and second two digit means the month, the next two digits. Okay, so they follow year and the month. Okay, everything, I mean, all applications or all companies have different strategies. Okay, and when we talk about containerization, then I will tell you how the versioning works in the containerization. Okay, so I hope this is completely okay for you, right? So okay, so this is the, now we understood how we have done this. So let me quickly go ahead and show you the DevOps stack. So here, for planning, we have this many tools. Okay, guys, so I have explained you everything. When you have question, immediately interrupt me. Okay, raise your hand. I will explain you. Okay, and then after that, for planning, we have I have chosen this one. This is Jira. Okay, so for planning, we can out of this. It's my recommendation to you, if you want, if you want to learn the Jira, how it works, how Scrum things are work, and all this thing. But you also have other as well, right? Microsoft Planner, Asana, Monday.com, Zoho as well. This is important. Next, we have code. So code, it means continuous integration, the topic which we are talking about. So in this, we have Git, GitLab, GitHub, Mercurial, Bitbucket, and Subversion. And out of this, we are going to learn in our course or training Git and GitHub. Okay, these are the tools for the version controlling system. And now you know we have different kind of application release, and when we release different, then we have to maintain many versions of the application. Okay, so we will learn how this will happen using these tools, right, where developers do the code. And specifically in build, what happened, so consider this as a, when you install virtualbox on your system on Windows, you have .exe file, and when you install, so that .exe file, right, you did not see the code, you just double click on that particular file .exe and you install the application. So similarly, in build phase, this is happen. We run, we compile and club the code in a way that can be usable, that can be used by the end user. So we will see the Maven build, and we will see the how Java application is work. And we also see the Docker container, right? So when you create a Docker images using the Docker file, so that is also kind of you're building your application code. So I know this is a theory, we will see this in action, but build, it means simply we are creating a file so user can use it. So like end user, the file format of end user usable, like ubuntu.iso file. You download ISO file. You did not download the source code of the entire operating system. You downloaded ubuntu.iso file and you use this, right? And in our case, we will go ahead and use the Maven for Java application. I will also show you about how you can do the build for the Node application, React, and all these things, right? But of course, Java is the one main, but front end should be, I think we know. Then we do the testing. We know the testing. Then this is from the JMeter, JUnit, and Selenium, right? If you want, you can do the, if you want, you can learn the soft Selenium for the testing. Guys, I'm telling you, you don't have to learn this tools. Learn this means the building and the testing. What you need to do, you need to know how this works, right? When you are doing the pipeline, it means in company, you are not going to alone create a pipeline. You will be get one developer, one tester, this planner, and that's why this entire loop we have, right? So you ask them, okay guys, how you do it? And if they don't say okay, you just see the code in repository and understand about it and do the automation. So for the automation, we know, so here I'm telling you, if you want to do automation, use this one, right? And of course, for release, so now we know really how complicated the release is. Everybody is involved like this, right? And for release, we are going to do, okay, no worries, Tarun. So For this release, we are going to use the Jenkins. Okay, Jenkins is very popular, very widely used server for the automation purpose. Okay, I will show you each and everything from the scratch, but today again it's a foundational. So yeah, and next we go with the deployment. So we have many options, whether you can deploy your application in container, in Kubernetes cluster, in cloud, even on your bare metal server, or even in your data centers. Okay, you could do all kinds of automation or deployment using the Jenkins. Okay, but in our, we will see all this for how we deployed in this case. Okay, once you have concept, then once we deploy, then we come on the operate and monitoring. So operate and monitoring includes your monitoring. So we will be seeing the Prometheus and the Grafana. So it's a visualization tool. This is more on the monitoring side, and it's a logging tool. Of course, it's out of scope, we could not put everything, but whatever you really need. And yes, in company there is a dedicated team for the monitoring itself, but you know how to see into the monitoring, what you need to see into the monitoring, right? So here there are two things, operate and monitoring. So whatever, for me it's everything same, but there is a slight difference, right? Ongoing management and maintenance. So operate, it means consider the entire maintenance phase, and monitoring, it means we are, after a deployment, we are monitoring or keeping track of our application for the performance, how it is behaving, whether it is responding properly to the user or not, or something like that. Okay, so more monitoring, it means more tracking. So you could say monitoring is a subset of operate, right? So operate inside that monitoring. But for just understanding, sometimes it confusion, why do we have two different phases? So whatever ongoing things will come over here, whatever tracking related, performance, availability, health, everything comes over here. But if you want me to combine, yes, we can do like this could be a one, right? And there are so many other stuff as well. This is not the stop over here. Logging, alerting, incident management, performance tuning, security management, all things will go over here. Okay, I have explained you everything. This is how we will learn, not the Selenium. Okay, and what else we have? Anything? Yeah, good. So guys, on this part, this is done. I want to explain on this much things on this. So do you have any questions on this? Okay, I take it as a no. So far we have done with these two parts. I quickly show you these two things. Okay, pipeline, and again our same part. We are not going to do anything. As I said, first two part was really important. All the basics are there. Now that's why we learn those things to understand this. So very first thing, we do the planning, and for planning we do with the tool, right? And that tool, this one. So this is a Jira. You have choice, you can use any tool, right? But I, in my experience, maximum companies, I found the Jira as a planning tool. I mean, ticketing tool, I would say. Then, so when we have requirement, we do the planning, then we create a ticket. So this ticket will be created by Scrum Master, product owner as well, right? And based on that, developers start doing the coding. So here we are talking about the pipeline, how pipeline looks like that. Then developers start working on this. Okay, and after that they are doing the local on their local system. Okay, this is the utility on their local system. They did coding. Okay, this is one of the version controlling system, because they have to release multiple versions, right? So this tool is help them to maintain the version. How it will go, we will talk later. And after that they save, they do the commit, and after doing the commit, they push their code to the remote repository, that is your GitHub. Okay, and once the code is pushed to remote repository, then this will trigger your automation job or automation code. Don't be afraid with the code, I would say job. Okay, then it will trigger automatically in the Jenkins, and then Jenkins start doing the, because very first thing is the build, right? Here we have to do the build, right? Once you do the build, once your build is done, then you do the testing, right? And that is again automated. And once you do the testing and you think, okay, my product is good, then you put it somewhere else. That is called the artifacts. Okay, so artifacts is a byproduct of your the code. So when you compile, and for example, let's say for Docker file, you are creating a Docker image. So you put or you save your Docker image someplace, right? We will talk about it where we will put it. Or in case of Java, you have Nexus is also kind of one tool where you put your jar or var file you want to save that, if you, right? And so that those are the artifacts. But in our pipeline, this is optional, I'm telling you. So it is not strictly necessary, but yes, it's a good idea to have. And then once we test, that's why I put it over here, then you can deploy. And once it is deployed, then we do the continuous monitoring on our application using this tool. And this is our pipeline looks like. Okay, so we plan, we create ticket based on that. Developers do the coding and they commit, I mean they commit locally, and then they push the code to the remote repository, then automatically build trigger. Everything is automatically, okay? Automation, with automation, we have no manual work at all. Then we do the perform the continuous test or automation test, right? Different kind of testing is performed, like unit testing is there, integration testing is there, system testing is there, user acceptance testing is there, so many kind of testings, right? And once testing is done and we said okay, all good, everything is fine, because these are automated way, so we can rely and be deployed on the Kubernetes. I like one of the best way to deploy your application, where you do not have any of the downtime at all, right? And then you monitor your application, and based on that, again, we have, based on the monitoring, whatever issues or feedback we have, we report back to the again, and planning team again start doing the same thing. Clear? Very simple, right? Whatever we, since beginning, whatever I'm talking about is the same procedure. We are not doing anything. Yes, there are more stages can be possible. So let's say monitoring, or like let's say okay, after build, not after build, let's say in test, after test, if test is failed, I want to inform the testing team. Or maybe the planning team says okay, we really want to deliver a good product. If something happened immediately, we should be get notified. You said okay, we'll do. Similarly, this team says okay, when we push the code, build trigger, we should be notified, so you can notify to them as well. And by end of the entire pipeline, you want to notify all the stakeholders, maybe in different geographic location, maybe different team, or maybe um, all together, maybe externals, right? So that is possible. So but in general, it's same, like you do code, you do, after coding you do testing, then you deploy and you use the maintenance. And again, so that's why instead of showing in infinite, I just showed you like, okay. So this is on the pipeline, we will be creating everything. Okay, this part is done. As I said, on this part I will be talking or touching upon the what is security. So here guys, of course it's entire, we will be bringing the series on this, and you already signed up for that, I will contact you. But for the moment, might be you encountered in your interview, they ask you, have you heard about DevSecOps? You say yes, I heard and I know what is this, right? So in DevSecOps, whatever you are seeing this arrow, so every stage of your pipeline, there there are tools available, right? You could use those tools. You could configure your pipeline in a way that they can use this automation in the security. And in terms of security, this is called shifting left. Like DevOps says, cultural shift. Similarly, security says shifting left. So shifting left, it means you are, so like once you deployed, after that this monitoring is happened, and here we also check monitoring is also included security tools as well. So instead of we are doing checking the security at the end, we are doing or checking the security from the very beginning. So that's why it said shifting the left this side. So when developers do the code, so we have some tools in CLI, we integrate in their um, IDs, the platform we use on their local system. When it runs, it's connect with the security tool and it says, okay, these are the problem, fix this before pushing it to the repository. At this place, you fix the security problem. This is done, then code is pushed over here in remote repository. Then remote repository also has a static code analysis tool, right? Then you scan the security thing over there to check whether because when you build, I will show you what happened during the build, right? So there are some tools, I think OWASP Zap here. When you build, so a lot of dependencies come. So like when you update, so you may see the progress, there are so many, it says libraries, binaries, dependencies, downloading, and all these things, right? So we don't know from where it is going to download. And with that, though the software is okay, but this dependencies may have kind of security issues. Somebody pushed some code over there in open source, or we don't know, right? So it is a kind of risk. So that can be mitigated by including tools in your build stack. Once it is there, then of course you have test, where you can also test your application. And artifact repository also have the testing. You could also do the containerize your container application. So before even deploying your application into container, you can scan or you can find directly by your docker file or container file that is going to be create a container image. In by that file, there are tools available. So yes, I don't want to tell the name here, but yes, there are tools available by which you can scan your docker file and you can identify whether it is going to give me a security issues later on, right? And in application, you also have a vulnerabilities you can identify using those tools. Similarly, for image as well, for container as well, you also have tools for the your cluster security. You also have tools for the, of course, monitoring is one of the way. So every stage we are you incorporating the tools for, or in this everywhere in between we are putting the security tools, and that is called DevSecOps. And the pipeline is looks like DevSecOps. So I know it's we didn't see, I didn't show you how pipelines actually work, but at least you get the idea how DevSecOps means, right? So security is including inside the DevOps. So and that concept is more like shifting the left. So out of this, remember DevSecOps, it means including security since very beginning. And including it means this concept is called shifting left. And shifting left, it means from the very beginning. And similarly, like we are doing this entire automation for our product, right? So we are also doing the security automation for the product. And that's how this DevSecOps term has emerged, right? So there are so many things, but first we have to learn, we have to understand the what DevOps is, then we will go into the DevSecOps, right? So and with that said, I conclude, I wrap up from my side, and now it's your time. If you have any questions, guys, please ask on any slides, any topic which I showed you. Okay, thank you, Tarun, for the feedback. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, Pradeep, please.
Yes, sir. My query was that this all the work is done uh, on the cloud, right? Like we are in a remote system and we have a system and we are pulling the cloud or the server from there, and we do all the work like Jenkins and every work on, from remotely from our system, right?
1 second. Let me go back on this one. Okay. Now, please, could you come again and ask your question?
Yes, sir. My query was that suppose I'm a DevOps engineer or I'm working in a company. So all the things are on the server and I'm doing it remotely or like from my laptop or my PC wherever I'm sitting at my workplace, and I will be doing it from there, right? I will be pulling a virtual machine or a remote system from the server.
Yes and no both. So first I will answer no. So when you are going to join a company as a DevOps engineer and this automation is there, already there, right? So you will be accessing Jenkins, and Jenkins has very good, it's like a web portal, right? I think next session we'll start this after our CI part, I mean Git and GitHub. So there you can log in into the portal. Yes, of course you could do SSH in case your team itself maintaining the Jenkins server too. So you know, okay, where my Jenkins server is configured, you have SSH key, or you can log in. Of course, you do not log in with your credentials, which as I showed the day, I will show you the more secure way how you do SSH, right? So you use a key, and by that key you log into remote server, but in only in case of troubleshooting, or if something is not working, or if you want to know, or if you really want to look into the logs or something like that, then you do the SSH. Otherwise you don't need to do SSH. Everything is done at the Jenkins level. Yes, this is the no answer. And for yes, you are configuring pipeline for any other server. So very first time, like if you are configuring server, then you have the key. If not, then somebody else, maybe let's say Linux team, the admin team, they provision a server, and then they give you a key, right? And in case like where I work, Jenkins also has a dedicated team. I did not have the access, so I only had access to a particular project. But excuse me, so that key is included in Jenkins, and using that key you can run whatever command you are allowed or you want to. So allowed and want to, using the Jenkins itself. So you don't need to do any SSH onto the server. So that's why Jenkins is there. It is our friend. It does all the boring repetitive tasks for us. Okay, have I answered your question?
Okay, sir, now got it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, anybody else? Okay guys, so again, this is the contact details, and some of the persons has contacted. So in our roadmap, everything we are going to share, make it publicly available. We will do the GA release for our all the videos, okay, via on the YouTube platform. So that would be available to everybody. And guys, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate for the session, and I say very big thanks to you, and very big thanks to our YouTube family for their support, their love. So from my side, thanks much. And in next session, we will start our day 3 topic. Okay, continuous so versioning system. I would say not the continuous. It's a DevOps thing. So we will start with the version control system. Okay, in that we will learn the Git and GitHub. And today we understood, okay, what is the problem with the waterfall model, what's the problem with the agile, and how the devs solve the things. And there are so many stuffs for us today, right? As I know, but I want you to remember at least the principles of the DevOps. Yes, more you know, more it's better for you. And if you really I picked up your interest for software engineering, go ahead and read the book about the software engineering. There are so many models over there. But if you don't want to do like me, as a lazy person like me, don't do that. Just stick with those things, those I tell today. And in throughout our session, next, like whatever tool we are going to use, everywhere we are using the concept, the fundamentals topic what we discussed today. Okay, so no worries. I hope I'm able to explain you the complex topic, and I also hope the journey was not boring. You are still awake. Of course you were. So that's why I could realize by your participation. So thanks so much again, guys, and we see each other next week. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Your sections are always interesting. Though this was kind of like a theoretical part, but for me, it wasn't boring at all. So thank you so much. I understood everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samal, because I know it's theory, but you got it. That's my motto. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Then if nothing from your side, I'm gonna hang up and we see each other next week.
I want sir, I wanted
You wanna ask
to know
something?
something.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I just want to know, do we use CloudWatch as well sometimes using, if we are on the AWS server, so do we also use CloudWatch in that case?
Yes. So CloudWatch, it's here. Yes, we want so for AWS, but we use CloudWatch for the monitoring. Yes, we do. We do. Like as I said, if you go in technologies, you have a lot of things to do. So CloudWatch is a service specifically from the AWS side, but here what we will learn the generalized thing. So maybe your pipeline is not based on the AWS, maybe on your own on-premise server, or maybe in data center. Then we should have some notification, right? So CloudWatch has something different utility which is limited to AWS, but yes, that is also there for. Okay. Okay, guys. So I want to wrap up. I ask you, do you have more questions for me?
Sir, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that session.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And we have today Rakesh with us. He was also joined, but today's session is too much long. Rakesh, definitely next week, when first we introduce you with the rest everybody, and I really appreciate. Thank you very much for your kind words. And guys, just read what he wrote in our video. That's a big deal for DevSecOps Club and our family. Okay, guys. Then it's too long. I won't take you much time. Then see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.